Hey everybody, Jordan here, CEO of Smartphone, and thank you for joining us today in our CRM showcase featuring Tyler Austin from REISift. These are great opportunities to bring in customers of ours, people who are looking at smartphone, people who are looking for a real estate CRM, and get them to dive into one of our deep integrations. And today, it's always fantastic to hear from Tyler. I'm gonna turn it over to him right away. Let him talk to you a bit about what makes REISift such a great CRM, and then at the end we will open up the floor to questions. So Tyler, awesome to see you, my man. Take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Ellen. I'm super excited to have the chance just to kind of show what we're about. One thing that's really unique about, I guess, REISift in general is we're a sales and marketing CRM, right? We are a tool where you centralize all your data and then you send it out for marketing, update it real time. And then if you generate leads, what's amazing is you could actually just send those leads to somewhere else. Let's just say you have another CRM. That's totally fine. I like to make sure that people are taking care of all the marketing side first, because that's where you're spending all your money, right? You're spending all this money to generate leads. You should probably get that dialed in. And then as far as lead management is concerned, that stuff's pretty simple. Once a task comes up to complete, you complete the task and you follow up. And so I don't focus too heavily on that right off the gate when people are learning about REISift, because of the fact that, again, my highest value add to you is the fact that if you're using smartphone and smrtDialer, that means that you're dialing. You're not a smartphone user and not making phone calls. And so every one of those phone calls need to be tracked and diagnosed. And so I'm going to go through a few different slides really fast that I kind of just like to discuss different concepts that I want to kind of impress upon you. And then I want to show you actually today during our bi-weekly mastermind at REISift, I actually was calling some leads through the smartphone and REISift integration that were generated from smrtDialer. One came in this morning, another one from yesterday evening, and I called them during our meeting or our bi-weekly mastermind. So I'm going to go ahead and try and share my screen really quick. We like to say here at REISift that you go from being a lucky investor, which is somebody who's not using REISift, to a smart investor. Okay, you've made the decision to commit to starting to focus on your sales and marketing processes, and then you enter into full ninja mode, which is where you get REISift set up with one of our integration partners, like smartphone or smrtDialer, and you're really using it to its highest capacity. And so my name's Tyler Austin. I'm a founder and CEO of REISift, active real estate investor. I have over 500 doors. I've done hundreds of transactions, and we've helped thousands of real estate investors achieve success. You can check out our Trustpilot and see what people say about us. It's not just like, oh, support was amazing. It is heartfelt paragraphs full of information. Sometimes you may see one in there that's like, oh, Tyler's a mean person. They use different words, but that's because we're transparent, we're honest, and I care nothing about your success. And I believe that your excuses are nothing more than just that. So let's eliminate those and focus on doing business, right? And so, because guess what, as you'll see in one of my slides here, your business doesn't care about your feelings. So if I were to care about your feelings, then I would be doing you an ill justice, because your business isn't going to give you the same respect. So I founded REISift back in 2019. Really, we're dedicated to giving real estate investors and agents the competitive advantage in their market. The truth is that if you're not using REISift and someone else in your market is, you are at a disadvantage. There's no ifs, ands, or whats about it. I'm very confident in that statement. What makes you unique as an investor is that you have information that another investor doesn't. If you're just pulling lists and just calling them, or you're just only focusing on the leads that you generate and throwing those into a CRM, then guess what ends up happening? Well, you're only focusing on the 0.005% of your market conversion, right? But you're spending 100% of your marketing dollars to get there, right? So we want to change the way that we're thinking about marketing and lead management, and that's what we're working towards here at SIF. So we are also industry leaders in the sales marketing processes. You'll see a lot of the gurus out there echo the things that we kind of educate when it comes to actually producing smart marketing campaigns. And more than anything, we're a community of sales and marketing ninjas. So what we do at SIFT is think of us like the central hub. Okay, you have your marketing going out, you have your leads coming in, and there's this delta in the middle, right? And that's what we solve, is that delta in the middle. But then we also extend out to that to also handle the lead management aspect of things as well, and sales management. For example, making offers, right? You make offers all the time on properties, or hopefully you are. And a lot of individuals, they only start caring about their offers once the offer is accepted. And I think that's also a huge mistake, right? How are you to pull opportunity out of hundreds of thousands of records or thousands of records if you don't have the capability to filter by, the leads that you made 3 offers to that weren't accepted, right? That's the person who you want to make another offer to at the end of the year, right? Because maybe you can change your numbers a little bit. Maybe it's been a little bit of time. Maybe you have data that's been sitting for 600 days that was skip traced 600 days ago, and you stopped calling it because you thought it wasn't motivated, right? That's also something that's pretty silly, and those are the types of things that we fix, right? It's about building business intelligence, and that's how you get the competitive advantage over your anybody else in your market that's just using maybe another integration at smartphone or just some other CRM. If you're looking into smartphone, you're trying to figure out if you should use it. Well, you should, number one, because it's powerful combination with all their integrations. We solve this by having a process, right? A very simple 4-step process. Set up your data process, which is basically uploading that data, whether it be through messaging our support and getting data, go into PropWire and getting it for free. Data is, if you're still sitting at the, I'm trying to figure out if I should get data or not, you're like this isn't a good fit conversation for you, because you haven't got past the point 1 right now. And you really should. That's the least excuse that you should have. Once you have that, upload into your account, though, we integrate with the best tools, smartphone and smrtDialer being one of those biggest tools. And honestly, the company that's working the most with us to have the most impact on customers. And then we execute on marketing, right? I'm going to show you an example of those 2 leads I called today, of how we do that, and how we have the most extreme insight over our leads that anybody else has when it came into our life and when we got a correct number. And then after we generate a market response, which would be all those wrong numbers, dead numbers, FUs, I'm not interested that you're getting, we then saved a bunch of money to get those responses. But then in some cases, we're generating those leads, and those leads then we're going to go ahead and nurture those and turn those into contracts. Okay. So some of the things you do with SIFT is create targeted marketing. Apparently, BattleNet's updating for some reason. All right. Got to get our Call of Duty on. Apparently, it's that time of day. Was it almost lunchtime? Yeah, it's about. So anyway, so you can track not only your lead distributions, but also your 2% of, because that only accounts for 2% of the marketing that you actually execute. So for example, if you dial 10,000 phone numbers, you're only going to generate on average 2.5 to 5% correct numbers out of those 10,000 phone numbers, which equates to be, out of 10,000 phone numbers, roughly, let's just say 300 prospects. And so, 10,000 times 2%, whatever that is, that's 20, maybe something like that. Maybe, you're going to generate a very marginal amount of the actual correct numbers to the people you're trying to reach, right? So what's happening in between there? How can we use smartphone and smrtDialer and REISift in order to find those people we're not reaching, so that we can do other marketing strategies, skip trace them, dig into family members. I was just talking to a user on our biweekly. He's out of South Carolina, and he pulled a tax list from his county, a tax auction list, uploaded it into REISift, clicked a call, dialed through it using smartphone, and then basically generated a lead from, well, actually, initially, he didn't even reach the homeowner, right? He ended up reaching some family member or something like that. And then that person actually gave him the number to the correct homeowner. And then ended up being, he's making $250,000 wholesaling a 32-unit complex, right? And that's a free record from the county, click to call, right? I mean, it's ridiculous what you can do if you actually understand how to build a system and build a process. And the beautiful thing is that, smartphone and REISift, we're spending all the money to make your business easier to get there, right? All you got to do is execute. And that's the amazing thing about it. So there's lots of things we do. You can read through those. I'm sure you already kind of trickled through them as we were kind of looking. And of course, you could always come back and watch the replay. So here's the 7 diseases created by scale that you need to be careful of. And this is, I'm getting a call on smartphone right now. However, I don't want to talk to him right now, because usually if I get any inbound phone calls, I always answer them live. But that gentleman, I just had like a 45-minute phone call with, and I don't want us to take up our time doing that. However, he is one of the leads. I'll show you. And we'll show you now how that just got tracked on our activity log using our integration. Okay. So following up with only leads, not interested. This is something REISift is very unique in, as you gather correct numbers, 97%, anywhere between 3 to... Let's see if he calls me again. That's how you guys know I'm actually still doing this business and I can actually speak about it, because I get phone calls in the middle of webinars. Okay, he hung up. Okay, so follow up with leads, not only not interested. See, the thing is that a not interested is nothing but a cold lead at the end of the day, right? And if you're dialing correct number and you're getting correct numbers out of the pickups that happen, you know, let's say you dial 1,300 dials, you're going to get about 150 people that you actually are ear to ear with saying, hey, yeah, bro, let me just answer it real quick and see what he wants. Can you guys hear audio or no? No, here, let's share again. Let's answer it. Here's Tyler.
Hey, Tyler, this is Craig Dishner again.
Hey, man.
Sorry, sorry. Yeah, we go by. We like the neighborhood and the looks of the house.
Yeah.
We kind of like to take a quick peek if we could, you know.
Yeah, I'm actually on a webinar now for probably another 45 minutes or so. Can we meet up afterwards? I'm free after. Can I send you a text and see?
That'd be great.
Okay.
Would you mind if we walk around? We walk around the side of the house and everything that there?
Yeah. Do whatever you want.
Okay. All right. We're not gonna try to go in. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we're just gonna park the drive. My daughter's gonna meet me and see how she likes it, and then we'll call you back because I like it. It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I love the property, man. It's got an easement in the back. It's a very unique property for Fort Walton Beach. I mean, it's one of them ones that it's only going to get worth more and more and more and more because it's so unique.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be plenty of room for us too.
Oh, 100%. It's beautiful. Does your daughter have kids?
She's got 2.
Yeah, beautiful backyard. I got a sand pit back there. You'll see it.
Okay. Well, we're going to walk around. Can we walk in the backyard if it's open, or?
Yeah. There's a gate on both sides. You can walk through.
Okay, we'll do that. It'll probably take him about 10 minutes to get here. He had to come from work. And,
okay.
And we'll take a look, and then we'll call you back. Call me back when you get back, if it's convenient for you this afternoon, because I think it'll be anytime be convenient for us, probably. You know.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks a lot.
I'll give you a holler. All right. Nice, bud. Bye. All right.
I love that. I'm sorry, but I love that. I love that. That's wonderful in every way. Continue, but that's amazing.
Yeah, he's it's kind of an interesting situation with that guy. But anyway, all right. So 7 diseases of scale, not interested, right? They account for 97%. If 150 people picked up the phone, only 3 to 5% of those are going to be a correct number, which is, let's just say it's 8% roughly. Roughly 8% of those, or 8 phone numbers of the 150 that picked up, are going to be a correct number. Well, only like 1 of those is going to be a lead. The others are going to be not interested, right? And so that is where you need to use smartphone and REISift to capitalize on those. One of our users, Kyle, he's a real estate agent, and he actually he started with us and smartphone in October of last year. In that first month, he using, by the way, a strategy we call first to market, where you just pull in county data and using smartphone and REISift only to call these records number by number. He ended up generating a $15,000 wholesale deal, wholesaled it. Well, in that period in time, over that calling, he had 101 not interested individuals that he had reached. He called back through those 101 not interesteds 90 days or in November, rather late November, early December, and he ended up locking up 3 more deals from a not interested from a month and a half or 2 months ago or whatever. Ended up accounting for another $18,000 in profit, which ended up being listings on the MLS, not wholesale deals, right? And so it's just to prove that most of the time, the reason that you're losing out on deals is not only because your CRM doesn't give you insights that you need to make good business decisions down the line, but also because there's marketing gaps that you don't see, and you're paying for these tools, but they don't necessarily have the ability to tell you the information that's designed, and they're not designed to actually make sure that you can capitalize on this money that you're spending every single day. So anyway, speaking of that, opportunity cost, right? Not capitalize on opportunity cost, another disease at scale. These bad team members only doing first to market, not bulk marketing, right? This is where the integration with smartphone and smrtDialer is so amazing, because we can execute on a very niche strategy using smartphone. But if we want to bulk dial, I can literally send a campaign, and within like less than a minute and a half, I can start calling. In fact, I did a reel on my Instagram last night on sending a campaign, a rehash campaign over to smrtDialer. And reels are only a minute and a half long. And I was able to go into smrtDialer, show that it was 100% dialed, go back to REISift, select the records, send them to, smrtDialer, and have a campaign ready for the next morning within a minute and a half. You can't do that anywhere. It's so powerful that it can't even be, and that's only just getting the marketing campaign started. That's not including once you actually start dialing, which there's some other amazing things. So anyway, most people's processes are to buy data, skip trace it, market to it like one time, and then trash it, and then rinse and repeat, right? That's like the one of the diseases of scale. It's just this compound effect that more leads is better, and that's just not true. And it's more about having high quality, correct numbers. Now, if you want to do that, then by all means, your expenses are going to creep up. And if you have hiccups in the market, then you're going to be affected more drastically than someone who knows what they're doing, when it comes to their marketing process. It should look more like this. You should bring new data in your business. You should then clean that data, which REISift does automatically as you upload it. And then there's going to be some records that are incomplete, right? This is records like trusts, for example. Trusts are an amazing opportunity to get deals from, and a lot of people don't focus on them because they say like, well, I can't reach the homeowner. Well, no, you can, you just don't know how, right? That's an information gap that if we solve, we can get money. Skip tracing the clean data. Anything that you don't get phone numbers for, send that direct mail. And then anything you do get phone numbers for, segment it, send it to smrtDialer, and then market, and then update the market response, and we'll show you that. One of the other really powerful things about REISift that you should really consider is the fact that you bake in your marketing flows, right? SOPs are really important, and a lot of times the reason people don't do them is because it's very complicated to like outline every single process, what you got to do. Well, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is just define a process, name the your filters and your what you want them to be, and you just outline what you want done. So for example, I'm illustrating on the left-hand side here, a skip trace, outbound marketing, inbound marketing. And you can see I have these different folders open, which are filtered preset folders in Sift. You can see this is like our $100 list, skip trace, our evictions list, skip trace, our foreclosure list, skip trace, probate list, skip trace. Those are basically filtering by data that is brand new in my business that I need to skip trace right inside REISift or externally. Doesn't matter to me as long as you're tracking it. That's all I care about. Then you skip trace it, and then it goes over to, you can have a separate folder for each, or you can do what I'm showing over on the right-hand side with all-in-one, where I just create, a flow where it's like, hey, here's the stuff that needs skip trace. Here's the stuff that hasn't been marketed to yet. Here's the stuff that I've sent to smrtDialer 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And this other one is basically, it hasn't been sent direct mail, send it direct mail. And so you can define that flow. And then in your training manuals for your VAs, your marketing managers, you can say, hey, once a day, click on this, skip trace those records, then click on this, send to smrtDialer, right? One smrtDialer campaign equals 100%, click on this and send all this data back again. It's that simple, and that's how easy it should be. And then there's a bunch of other frequencies that we cover over at REISift to kind of, learn what should you do quarterly, what should you do monthly to make sure you're keeping up with your data, you're not interested in your leads, all that good stuff. And the same thing goes with your lead management, which I'll show you guys once I share my screen to that. So here's one of the most powerful things about the integration between smrtDialer and Sift, and something that exists only in Sift and no other platform. And if it did, it was after we came out with it, for the record. Okay. Which seems to be a common trend for us. So dead numbers. What we've done with smrtDialer is they've created an API for us to make sure that as you dial, those numbers which come back from their phone, their providers say, hey, these are disconnected, or they're no longer good numbers. It actually sends over and automatically updates that phone number as a dead number. Why is this important? Well, for anybody that is trying to build a real business, you track your dials, right? You track how many dials does it take to get a correct number. And what ends up happening is you dial through a whole list, and then you dial through the second time, you're like, I'm not generating leads no more. Well, that's because all the people who are like just sitting by their phone and not doing anything picked up the phone right away. Those aren't the people you're trying to reach. Everybody's reaching that person because they're picking up the phone, right? It's the people who aren't picking up the phone that you're trying to reach. Well, One of the big things, and I know Smartphone is really passionate about this as well, is 10 DLC ATP compliance. Well, my background history is in hacking, things. And when I say hacking things, I mean like satellites, GPS satellites, phone systems, airplanes, the whole thing, right? So we would do things where we literally hack a GPS satellite and communicate with a cell phone tower to do something on the ground. Like things that you wouldn't even know is possible. And not saying that it is possible. I should probably premise that. So basically what I learned in that, going through a ton of training on how packets are sent through a cell phone to the tower, to the GPS, all this stuff. Because remember, a lot of what you do on your phone is GPS driven, right? A lot of stuff now is GPS driven. It all communicates through GPS somehow. Well, anyway, what it is an average phone call takes an X amount of period in time. Think of it, actually, let me give you a better example. Think of it like this. If you had a home router, okay, and somebody was outside of your house saying, trying to hack to your house, or maybe someone was just at your door, just knocking vigorously, really aggressively, like not like a normal, like knock, 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 but like smashing it. That would raise some concern, right? You'd be like, that maybe be something that I maybe need to look through the peephole first, right? It would be of concern. If it keeps happening, then you may call the cops and they may come and handle something. It's the same kind of scenario. If a dialer is smashing dead numbers all the time and wrong numbers, and you're having these dead numbers, which aren't normal. It's not normal for a phone number to knock on the door of dead numbers all the time. That is an unnormal activity. Okay. Well, there's algorithms and there is firewalls that watch for this activity to happen. And this is how your numbers get flagged as spam. And this is how, right now with 10 DLC A2P, you could be, seen very easily if you're doing things you're not supposed to be doing. And so it's all about a frequency and time thing. It's much better if a phone number is dialing something and nobody's picking up than if they're dialing something and it's a wrong number and they hang up within 3 seconds, right? Because again, 1,000 of those a day is also not normal activity, right? The normal conversation on the phone is anywhere between 6 and 8 minutes. And so if you're having 3-second conversations, this starts to look a little strange. And so we're building out the product, and we've built the product, and we've built the integration at smrtDialer and smartphone to be able to see this information better. And instead of forcing that seller to answer the phone and getting ourselves looking like what I call bad boy companies, then what you want to do is just send this direct mail, because none of your competitors know that this record exists. All these phone numbers are dead. The only way that you would know that is if you're centralizing your data in a product like REISift. And if you're going to do it in a smart way, you use smrtDialer, so it automatically happens for you. And then you can filter by this specific record, or on average, for every 100 dials, 3 to 5 of these exist, mind you. And this is where nobody else is reaching. And this is an opportunity for you to send direct mail. I know we're turning this into a little bit of a marketing masterclass, but it's important so you understand the power of what it is that's here. So I'm not going to get into how waste compounds, but like I said earlier, for every 150 dials, like 140 of them are going to be a wrong number, right? And so you spend all this time focusing on leads, but you're on a dialing platform that is integrated with the tool, right? That allows you to track every single phone disposition. Okay. If you're spending, I'll go back to this. If you're spending for $35 a day on a VA to call for you, that's 3 cents per dial, 25 cents per connection. You're only going to generate maybe 1 to 2 leads. So what are you actually paying for? Are you paying to get rid of wrong numbers, or are you paying to generate leads? You're actually paying to get rid of wrong numbers so that you can figure out who you're not reaching, and the correct numbers that you do generate, you're going to nurture those. But really, it's all about the people you're not reaching, not who you are. Because by answering that question, your business will last a lifetime. If you only focus on the latter, then guess what? Then there's a half-life to your business at some point. I don't care when it is, or at some point there is going to be a point in which you have lack of clarity and you're going to start slipping. And you're going to try to find another marketing strategy to solve the problem. In all reality, it's been right in front of you. You just ain't been tracking it. You don't have the business intelligence, okay? Oh, this is a metric that I'm really enjoying, and it's been made possible by things like our integration with smrtDialer, and it's going to become even more crazy as we release new features throughout this next couple quarters at SIFT. But what we found is that for every 1,300 dials that someone makes, there is $32,240 worth of opportunity. And some people go like, "No, Tyler, it's not possible because I don't get a deal for every 1,300 dials, right? That'd be insane." I'm like, no, I'm not saying that there's a deal for every 1,300 today. I'm saying that there's a deal or two for every 1,300 dials. And the reason why we know this is because of the breakdown of what I told you. We know how many numbers are going to, on average, pick up on 1,300 dials. We know how many are going to be a correct number on average. We know how many are going to be not interested. And we also know, because of what we do at SIFT, we know how many not interesteds it takes to follow up with to where one converts to a deal, right? And we also know, for the situation of this guy here, where every number is dead, we know how many of these, if you reach out to, on average, it takes to get a deal from it. Which, by the way, these on average end up being 3 times larger deals than deals that just pick up the phone, okay? Because nobody's reaching them. And oftentimes someone who passed away and the family members don't even know a property exists, and you get them for like pennies on a dollar, okay? And so, as you can see, it's just one of those things where I like to say this saying, with deep understanding becomes the ability to manipulate. And that's what we really believe. We believe in building businesses that you fully understand what's going on and why, not just aimlessly doing because it's what was shown on YouTube, right? Here's the top emotional decisions that KO your business. I'm not going to like dig into all of them, but basically one of the biggest ones is my dialer is bad. So many people say that, and it's because they have lack of clarity and they're not doing the business right, right? And so they hop around from, one tool to another tool. I'm sure smartphone experiences this, where they get, people that are complaining about X, Y, or Z. In all reality, it's not a smart dialer problem. It's a you problem. And you just don't want to admit it. And I'm going to be the one to tell you that that's the case. I can tell you now, I close deals every single month. And I got 10 new construction builds going on right now. I got a flip that we're selling tomorrow. Like, I'm not as active in real estate as I was, a few years ago before SIFT existed. But I'm buying deals all the time, and all of our users are buying deals every single month out of our integration with smrtDialer. And so are they on some of our other integrations. So what we've learned is it's not the tool, right? The reason you invest in the products like SIFT and smartphone and smrtDialer is because you believe in what we're building, right? You believe in where we're going, not where we're at today, right? And I think that's a really important, and just showing that smartphone is doing things like this with me just shows how powerful this combination is going to be in the future. And we're only just getting started. So anyway, you probably had time to read through those, so I'm going to move on. At the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, even if you don't use REISift as your full-blown CRM, tool, is just tracking my data and making sure that I can understand what's going on with my data, with my phone numbers, and pulling more campaigns out of it, is getting one extra deal a year worth it. Because SIFT is only $3,000 a year. It's $299, right? It's not a lot of money, right? Most people's average deal size is way beyond that, and you're probably spending more money on skip tracing. And just by using SIFT and uploading and managing that data, you're going to actually save more on skip tracing a year than you would pay for SIFT. We like to say, like, SIFT is the coupon code to the business. And what's super amazing out of it is that we then also have the capability to then manage our leads also, which makes it that much sweeter. And so the way SIFT works is we have records pages, and we have lists and tags and a bunch of other stuff. We're not going to get into that now. What I do want to do is I want to show you a lead that came in today. I marked her as cold, but it is a lead nonetheless. And so I'm going to go to, this is through SIFT line, which is basically like our sales view here. And you can see we have an offer track. We got like an activity log here. We can see all the tags on here, the list that it came from. But I'm actually going to go to the owner by clicking on the owner's name here. And then I'm going to go to the property. And so this is our property page view. So this is coming as if I were to come from the records page. But the reason I wanted to come here is I want to show you the full activity log. We on the SIFT line, we restrict that activity log to more sales related things. I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom here. I'm going to show you the power of REISift when it comes to centralizing your data and making sure that your leads are also connected to your original data source. So this came into my life July 18th, 2023. That's when I uploaded this record in the SIFT. It came into my life because of the $100 list, which I'm not getting into what lists are, but that was week 28 of 2023. Let's scroll up and let's see when I first ever dialed this person. So I skip traced it July 25th inside of REISift. We got 2 phone numbers that were added. Scroll up a bit and we can see the next activity that happened was October 29th, 2023. I put it on a direct mail campaign. I sent direct mail because we were super focused on probates. We were pulling data for niches that we weren't calling. We were just calling probates at the time. And then on November 6th, I sent it to smrtDialer. And then We called it, didn't reach anybody. Sent it back again. I sent direct mail again. Sent it back to smrtDialer again on January 11th for a rehash campaign. Called through it. Didn't get anybody. That only took 2 days because a rehash campaign for us, it was only like 1,300 or 1,500 dials. And then sent it again on the 15th. Picked up, turned into a correct number. So you can see smrtDialer sent over, updated the phone number as a correct number. And then it also triggered a sequence because smrtDialer updated the status as a new lead. Triggered a sequence inside of REISift that if anything if a status changes to new lead, what we do is we add it to our lead management board and create a task. And there's that task being created right there. There's my notes from my caller. And then here's when I called back the seller earlier today at 11 o'clock in the morning. I completed my new lead task. There's my phone conversation. You just click on right inside of the activity log and listen to my 20-minute call. And there's my task to follow up with her in May. There's my notes. And there's the offer that I made, all within one place. And so I understand January 23rd, June 23rd. Wait, was it till 23rd? Because that would be crazy if it was like a year, the same day. No, July 18th to January 23rd, right? So that's the life cycle. And it was all because of this. And what's crazy is it was the first number. So if this number was dead, it would have came back as dead. If they picked up this number in smrtDialer, it would have showed as a wrong number, right? It wouldn't show as a correct number. It would have been dispositioned as wrong. So let me show you the other lead that I called today, which is the gentleman that just called me a minute ago. Right now, he's sitting underneath of, well, let me show you something else. So this is something you can do in SIFT. We have all this marketing data in here, 53,000 records that are clean. I'm going to go in my SIFT account. I'm going to filter by property status. And I'm going to filter by warm leads. Okay. And then I'm going to, which you can make any statuses you want, customize whatever you want. There's some default ones, especially with smartphone. We set some default ones. So you don't have to worry about anything. It's very plug and play. But I'm going to do last updated field. And I'm going to say that the status was last updated. So I'm going to filter by status. Somewhere. Where's my S's status? Wait, did I click on the wrong one? Last updated field. Hold on. I think I did. That was the right one. Maybe I'm just blind. There it is. Status. Okay. And I'm going to choose from, let's just say yesterday. What is today? Today's the 23rd. So let's say yesterday. So from yesterday to now, if a status was last updated on yesterday and the status is now warm, click apply. And there's the record from this morning, right? And so that's another way. I can just filter by all my not interesteds, which I'll show you in a second how you can build a campaign for that. But I can filter by all my not interesteds that happened not last quarter, but the quarter before that and earlier. Send them over to smrtDialer to call through those again because those were correct numbers. What we found is that, between every 90 and 120 days, 2.5% of those not interesteds end up selling a property. That's what we found, right? Okay, so looking at this one, let's look at this. When did this come into my life? So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom again, and this is what we call reverse engineering your wins, right? But also you got to do this with your losses. Look up the ones that you lost. Get on your wholesalers list and see when they go to list the property, search it in REISift. Did I ever call it in smrtDialer? Did I ever click to call it with smartphone? When did it upload into my life? Do I not have the record? Maybe you have the wrong base data set and you're blaming smrtDialer and REISift for not getting deals, but it's because you never actually had the right data in your market to begin with. You can't answer those questions without using a tool like this. So this was actually September 18th, 2022, entered into my business, and it was on the single family residence list. So I pulled a list of just single family residences that are in an area that I would really like to have correct numbers for. That's all it was. So that I can follow up with them over time. All right. So fast forwarding, we sent it in the bulk dialer January 7th. So I didn't do anything with it in that period in time. But I sent it to this bulk dialer January 7th for our bulk pool Q1 2024 single family residence townhouses. So I'm just calling through all of those in my market. And then the first number we connect, no, not the first number. Yeah, no, the first number we connected to in smrtDialer ended up being the correct number, and it became a lead. And then the task got created to call a new lead. There's the notes. There's the phase of the board it went on. Then I called, then he called, it called another number, and he spoke to them, or there's the actually recording of the actual phone call. Then it basically, there was another number on this contact that that ended up being called, and it ended up being a dead number. So after he spoke to the right person, the next number in line ended up being the same, another number. When we do this in the integration, we don't remove these. If we send these over to smrtDialer, like, even if you get a correct number, we still dial through the rest, because I want to get as many correct numbers of this contact as possible. Next time I send over to smrtDialer, I'm not going to send this record back again, because it already has a correct number. But I want to continue to call through, because if you get 3 correct numbers, which we found on average there's between 2 to 3 correct numbers out of your data set, most people just don't call all the numbers. They just stop. And that's not about a good idea, because when you go to follow up, this person may change their phone, or they may start ghosting you, and then you still have that correct number that you can call to say, hey, I've been trying to reach, Craig. I think he's ghosting me. Anyway, you can see this whole thing. And what's happening with this guy, it's pretty crazy. So they're 74 years old. They have some health concerns. The daughter lives nearby. She has another property. She only owns $50,000 on that property. He owes a little bit on his property. Really nice location in one of the hottest market, areas of our market. And him and his wife need to move in with the daughter, but the daughter, the only way they'd be able to do it if there's an addition on the home, right? And so I have a buddy, including myself, that could do this, but we're going to look into trying to build an addition for him so that we can buy the home that he lives in now, and he can move in with his daughter. But I was like, you know what? Wait a second. I have a property that I have for sale that just so happens to have a guest house. And maybe we can just swap. Maybe it makes sense. I don't know. We got to dig into the numbers, but if you like this property, go look at it, and maybe we'll do a trade. I get 2 properties, you get this one, because my house it's $590,000 is list price. And these houses wouldn't sell for that. But it may work out to be perfect, where if I sold that house right now, I'd make $300,000. So if I can make $300,000 from his 2 properties, and then we can do a 1-for-1, then it's a great deal. And they get an even better home for the wife and for their kids and everything else. And it's going to be worth more money than their 2 properties will be in time. So it's just little things like that, using the right tools gets you in contact with the right people, building the right campaigns. And then on top of that, it's just a matter of being able to know how to close deals, right? Knowing how to make options, not just being a one-trick pony, which is another reason why you go back to your diseases at scale, because you're making excuses on why you're not getting deals. And it's because the market's screaming, get your real estate license, get your real estate license. Everyone wants to list their properties. And you're like, I don't want to be a realtor. No, get your real estate license, list the dang houses. Right? Like, don't be silly. That first lead that I showed you guys, she wants to list a house. She wants max dollars from it. Okay, well, I'll list it for $260. That'll be $6,240 in my pocket. Middle of this year. But hey, those add up, right? 10 of those a year is like totally okay for most people. Okay. So anyway, hopefully, you can see the power of SIFT. And I want to show you one more other thing here. And it is the idea of the records that nobody knows exist. I'm going to filter by phone statuses here, all phone numbers. And I'm going to click on say, hey, I want to see all records that have phone statuses, but none of them are the correct number status. And none of them are no answer. Because obviously if there's no answer, that means we don't have a disposition, right? And so I'm going to filter by only records that have wrong numbers, dead numbers, and do not calls, basically. I'm going to click apply. And for me, that is 837 properties. Right? So these are ones that I can send direct mail to and pull opportunity from. Or let's go a layer further here and filter by property list or list. Say, is any of these probate? Apply. 274 of them. Okay, let's go a layer deeper and say, okay, were any of these out-of-state homeowners? 4. Okay, so what am I going to do here? Notice these 2 sold. I found that out after the fact, that we never did what we needed to do to reach this person. And this is, again, why $32,000 exists for every 1,300 dials. This is a great example. This got dialed. We didn't get the deal because it was all dead numbers and my team didn't reach them. Somebody else, they probably reached out to somebody else, or maybe they were sent direct mail. But let's click on this one. That's 823. Let's do this one instead. 2 dead numbers, Sean, probate. Let's see if it's still available or if I lost the deal. Hey, it still could be available. This is in Destin. It's an expensive home. But it's probate and it's an expensive home. Who knows what's what, right? And so in this case, what would I do? Well, I would go out, find new phone numbers. I can re-skip trace it. I can see who owns the property now, do a little bit of research, add new phone numbers to it. And I don't want to send this to smrtDialer. I just want to use smartphone, just click the number right from here and just dial it. And if I do it now, it's going to end up saying it's a dead number, but maybe. Let's see. Oh, it's not a dead number. Uh-oh. Man, we're about to... Nah, it is.
We're sorry.
All right, so it's a dead number. So I'm just going to click it dead number, and I'd update it dead. But you can see on the activity log now, since I made that phone call, if it was a lead manager, it was a sales individual, you can see now that just got tracked, right? That phone call got tracked, and it's now in here, right? And I can see all the rest of the history of what's happened to it. What I would really want to do is I'd want to dig in. Most likely this has already been inherited. I'd want to swap the owner information out with the new homeowner, the family members, and then I would re-skip trace it and call them. But again, this is where you can make good money. This is where these deals are sitting under your nose and you don't know they exist. Doesn't mean you need to work them right now. It just means that if you're not tracking your data, if you're not using SIFT in smrtDialer or SIFT in smartphone, you never have the opportunity to begin with. And I'd rather put myself in a better opportunity so that in 90 days from now, I can make more money from the money I spent 90 days ago than not, right? And lastly, what I'll show you is how you can send these mail. So what we could do is we can come in here, create a new campaign. I can filter by the stuff that I need to send mail, no matter what it is. I don't know. Let's just pretend it's these records here, right? I'll select 150 of them. And all I'll do is click next record. And then I could just type some information here to pretend it's a campaign. I'm going to scroll down. I like to use this absentee postcard one. Fun trick I did from a tax, little tip for you guys. You put your family on your postcards when you're sending mail. That adds up, and that's where you can justify giving your kids $12,500 a year tax-free. I did that as our default postcards across our whole company. And so thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of postcards are being sent a year in other people's businesses with my family on them. But you don't need to do that. You can just click on investor, change it out with your logo, put your URL in there, whatever you want to do, and be totally fine. Okay. But by doing that, you justify. Now it's marketing material, and direct mail is expensive. So it's a really great way for you to be able to get deals and also, send those, be able to give your kids some money for college. Okay. Anyway, so I just click save mailer, and then I just click send, and boom, I've sent mail. And so I've just plugged that gap with a very, non-reactive approach where I did my natural business using smrtDialer and REISift to send out marketing, and then organically I generated opportunity. I seized that opportunity that I'm missing out on by sending it direct mail, and I'm making my business what I call like Viking, which is essentially, if anyone knows how Viking ships were built, they were known to be the ships that could sail the seas, right? They don't matter what kind of waves hit them, like they were rock solid. And so Viking ship marketing is what I kind of like to express as making sure that, it doesn't matter what happens in the market. It doesn't matter if, the sea hits and there's a bunch of chaos happening or foreclosures stop. Like you have a very solid marketing process, and you're using a sales and marketing CRM to where, you're not really making excuses why you can't just come in here and complete your leads that are due today. You know what I mean? Now, what is SIFT missing right now? Let me be honest about that. SIFT is missing right now drip SMS. So if you're wanting drip SMS follow-up, we don't have that right now. Now, what I have shown you though is that doesn't matter, because you should still have SIFT for everything else, right? Right now, compared to other CRMs, SIFT is missing 30, probably 10% of what they have, but we have 90% of what they don't, right? And so that's a great way to think about it. And I think that's pretty much it. I think I've showed you guys the impact. I think I've showed you, why I believe what we do is the best, and how no other platform can compare with what we're building here at SIFT to combine with smrtDialer.
I mean, Jesus, that was a masterclass. That was a tour de force. That was a whirlwind, and I'm sure that everybody will be very grateful. And I know there's going to be a lot of people sharing this recording around and around. But before we, I recognize we're kind of coming to the end.
Yep.
Quite honestly. So I've got a couple of questions to start off with, if you don't mind, just things that I notice over the years. One is, I mean, you whizzed around there. Of course, you're showing as much as you can, which is great. But from a one of the things I've found is that from a management point of view, where you've got agents that are maybe remote or VAs working on things, How easy is it inside of Sift to have that sort of more bird's eye view?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of amazing functionality, but of course, you also then, as a manager, have to be able to make sense of it. So, can you speak to a bit about
Yeah.
that side?
Yeah, 100%. So here's the crazy thing is, yes, we lack dashboards right now, like dashboards that, say, hey, you click on this page and it says, this is how many dials were made today. Um, but here's the crazy thing is with our integration with you guys and what we have coming this year is not only the ability to say how many dials did someone make in smartphone, because they could just log in a smartphone and see that. Like, I don't really need to tell them that. You can just log in there and check what they called, right? I know people like to say that, oh, it'd be really nice if my CRM said this information. At the end of the day, like, you're already doing that work. And so that feeling is an emotional feeling that you're like, oh, I just wish it was all right here in front of me. Yeah, but it's also available right here. And I know, and as well, software companies that have tens of thousands of users, right? And they still use Google Sheets for like 90% of their business ops, right? And we don't make excuses why we can't manage all those people. And yet real estate investors like to complain about the 2 leads a day they're generating, or 5 leads a day, or the 5,000, leads that are in their system, and why they can't see if someone's calling or not. And I think that this is something that really is a mindset shift that needs to happen in our industry as a whole. They need to focus more on, like, have they completed tasks? But how we do this now is you can filter an REISift by overdue tasks, for example, and you can get an idea if your people are doing their job that way. You can filter by offers made. You can filter by if offers were accepted, if offers were rejected. You can filter by, again, if status have changed. So if you go in your account, your employees aren't doing their job. If you go in your account and you filter by, phone status updates, and there's no phone status updates today, right? You also know they're not doing their job if you just go into smartphone or smrtDialer and you see that there's no dials that are being made, right? And so what we have our team do is, at the end of every day, they just populate, the calls that they've made inside of a Google Sheet, and I review it either daily or weekly. And if the numbers aren't what I would expect, then we got a problem. In addition to that, what we do is I know that I should have a certain amount of output of new leads generated, right, every single day, or at least every other day. And if I see that diminishing, then I know that that's a problem. And so, but that's how I handle it now, because we haven't built that yet, because of the fact that I know that, I've closed, millions of dollars, over $10 million in real estate over the last, 7 years, 5 years, something like that. And at no point did I ever have a CRM that actually had dashboards in it, and so I know that it's not something that's needed to actually make money. Because I've relied upon having instead a good tech stack of tools that can tell me the information that I do need to have to make better business decisions. But we do want this information. So what we can do that no other CRM can do, because of the way that we are integrated, is our dashboards will actually tell you not only how many calls your team has made from a manual click to call, which is typically what only CRMs have in it, right? The CRM only tells you, yeah, they dialed this many leads today, right? What we're going to be able to tell you is how many dials were made on smartphone and smrtDialer as a whole, and what was the actual dispositions of those, were how many out of all those dials, how many were wrong, how many were dead, how many were what, and then out of all those correct numbers, how many turned into a lead, how many turned into not interested, and then out of those, how many did you make an offer on? So we're the only platform that's going to be able to connect the actual, how much do you have to spend on skip tracing, and how many dials do you need to make in order to generate how many correct numbers. What is a correct number as actual value to you in your business? If you did $100,000 this year, how many correct numbers did you generate? What is one correct number's value to you? We actually have a user that uses smartphone. Actually, they're not going to be using it no more, and I'll tell you why. It's not a bad reason, but they're not going to use Sift no more either, because they sold their company, and they sold their company because of the information that they had, right, available to them from using our products, and being able to take that to another investor and say, hey, this is what I have. I have 50,000 plus correct numbers to people in your market. And this is how I can justify you being able to make your return on investment from my business. I have the people that know how to execute and gather the correct numbers. We have the follow-up process put in place, and we have the data stored here historically from all of our marketing efforts from the last 3 years. It would cost you millions to replicate this, to be able to achieve this. You'd have to spend a ton of money in marketing, a ton of money on employees in order to get the same result. And so anyway, it is one of our gaps, but we just manage it with simple business practices that, even billion-dollar
Sure.
companies are executing on today.
Sure. Final question for me, and quite honestly, maybe final question of the night, given I think we're running up at the end of it. But one thing I know that people care very deeply about when they're thinking about moving into a new system, and I know you said at the very beginning that of course people can use REISift with another CRM. They can mix and match tools to get the best of all possible worlds. But if they want to start working inside of REISift, I know that two things that people care very much about are how difficult it's going to be to learn, and how much friction it is going to be for my staff, and also what type of support am I going to be able to do,
Yeah.
access in order to make sure that it keeps working for me. Can you speak a bit to those two parts of the experience?
Yeah, so our support response time is under 5 minutes, which is amazing. Sometimes it creeps up to 15 just because of the weekends and holidays and stuff like that. So Intercom will show one thing or another. We have an amazing support team. I'm super, super blessed to have an awesome team like you guys do. And we have an amazing help center. We have we have a community of over 5,000 investors sitting inside of a Facebook group that you can ask a question to at any time. And we do challenges. We teach people business principles to implement, like the first to market strategy. Literally, during the first to market strategy, we had a user who started with us and smartphone in June of last year. June of last year, he started, and he was really having some troubles for the first 90 days. It takes about 90 days to 6 months, depending on your situation, and really build traction in a business. You can't expect it to be overnight, right? And you may have some ups and downs, but anyway, after 90 days, that put him into like October timeframe, I think. And from between October and the end of December, they ended up closing out 135,000 worth of revenue through manual click-to-call dialing, probates, and evictions in Pinellas County and Duval County. Okay, and to give you an idea of how compound efforts work, and just by doing simple executions of like the first to market challenge, which literally outlines this is what you do, this is how you upload, this is what you like, step by step by step. What a $25,000 mastermind would cost for $297, I think is what the challenge cost. Anyway, this month in January, he has 225,000 already assigned from manual click to call with smartphone and REISift, free data and free skip tracing. Like, it's not as hard as people make it out to be. And as far as learning, that would be that would be if someone said, oh, well, you don't have any education material, that would be okay, well, you probably are in an insane asylum right now. There's no way that you even tried, you know what I mean? So we have an onboarding. We have 90 days of premium onboarding where you can book a call with our success team at any time to have a call and give you advice. Again, we have our challenges. We have our bi-weekly masterminds you can hop on. I have my personal coaching program if it's something where someone's really wanting actually hands-on help, like building out like the business. That's so accessible, and it's very easy. Where a lot of people make it hard is they hear everything I just showed you today, and they think they need to set that up in 24 hours. You know what I mean? And that's just not true. You need to set quarterly goals on where you want to be at by the end of the quarter. But if you're going to have like, this is what you do in a 5-hour period or a 3-hour period, I have videos showing hopping in. So, somebody in the comments says, hop into this market. And I go request from support. I get 10,000 records from a market. I upload it to my account. I filter by vacant. I skip trace it, and I send it over to smrtDialer, and I'm generating leads within a 15-minute period in time. You know what I mean? And so you can make it as quick or as long of a process as you want. And it all revolves around how well you're willing to let go of the noise that's keeping you from progressing forward.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Tyler, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can also say, hand on heart, I've met your team, or a lot of the team. I'm wearing my REISift shirt today, actually.
Oh yeah, look at that, SIF Summit.
SIF Summit shirt. That wasn't actually intentional this morning, but I'm very glad it was. I wear it all the time. Yeah. Listen, I've met the team, and they are wonderful. The whole team is fantastic. And I know how great the support team is. I know how great the community is, 'cause I've met a whole lot of them. I'm also excited, as you mentioned, one of the things that I love about our integration strategy and is being able to work with you guys to continue to develop, to continue to push things forward, to continue to make sure that we make that integration stronger and better with new functionality. We've got some exciting things coming up. I know you've got exciting things coming up, and we're going to work together to make the two of them work really well. I think this video is going to be a fantastic resource for anybody who is really trying to both understand REISift, but also, quite honestly, understand a snapshot into some of the mentality and behavior that is needed. Because that is something that you can have all the tools in the world, but if you're not using them properly and you're not focused on them, then you're not going to succeed either. So I really appreciate you hopping on today. I'm excited to see everybody, to get to know REISift even more, and I'm excited to continue to work with you guys and the team.
100%. I really appreciate y'all inviting me. And one thing that I did want to say is that we need to create a coupon code for smart phone users that do want to transfer over. And I want to match what you guys do for our customers with the 25% off for the 3 months. So I'm going to get with the team and make sure that coupon code is given to you guys so you can put it in the notes or whatever. We'll just call it SMRT. Was it 25 or 30% that you guys do? I don't remember what it is. Whatever it is, it'll be SMRT, whatever that number is. Okay.
30.
It's 30. Okay.
30.
Then we'll do that for you guys.
All
We'll
right.
do that. And so it'll be SMRT 30. That's what we'll do. Okay. And that'll be up by the end of the day.
All right, well, fantastic, Tyler. Thanks so much for popping on, and thanks everybody for watching live and watching on video.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.